Many people are talking about the wealth transfer, but is a wealth transfer actually coming? How does it look like? What does the timeline look? And in today's video I want to talk about that, and in specific I want to talk about the wealth transfer itself. I want to talk about the timeline of the wealth transfer. I want to talk about my personal plan, and I want to talk about, and this might be a very important part of this video, is going to be the mindset of the wealth transfer. And let me start off with saying that these are all my personal perspective, my personal opinions, and I will not say to anyone what anyone else needs to do. I'm just sharing what I experience right now and what feels like the truth for me, basically. Okay, so take that in mind, because everybody has to do their own discernment, feel within yourself what feels good, what doesn't feel good, which direction in life you want to go. These are all choices that you have to make yourself, which is very important, because once you make the choices yourself, they are very powerful. You should never lean on somebody else, right? If somebody else makes a decision, never make a decision just because somebody else did that, right? You should make a decision based on yourself. That's what I personally believe. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit later about that in the mindset of the wealth transfer, because I think this is a very important aspect, because I myself have some internal conflicts in the past 6 months about all of this stuff that's happening on the planet, and I'm going through these ups and downs, and through these ups and downs I'm getting these insights and perspectives, and those insights and perspectives I'd love to share with you guys in today's video. Let's start with the wealth transfer. Let's start with maybe the why. I don't know exactly why a wealth transfer is going to come. I have my personal interpretations. I think it is a big reset of the planet. We are seeing, of course, a lot of structures on this planet that are not beneficial for human beings. Right, we can see that some structures on this planet are actually harmful against human beings, also harmful against the planet. And I think there is, in this time, in this clock that we are living, because I see the universe as a sort of a clock. In the clock that we are living, there are these moments in time, we experience that as time, in the dimension of time. There are these moments where there is a certain reset coming. A reset where old structures are going to lose power because the veil is being lifted. People see through the truth behind certain structures. That's why they are going to lose power. And then a lot of people that have been suppressed for many years, right, they will gain suddenly a lot of energy and power, so to say. They will step into their authentic power, they will gain energy, and with energy I also mean abundance and wealth, because it has been suppressed for such a long time on this planet. That's what I really think, and that I think we can also see that around us. Okay, so let's start then with the timeline. When is the wealth transfer going to happen? To be honest, I don't know, nobody knows, and nobody knows actually if it's going to happen, right? So that is, let me just say pretty clear right off the start. But I have some ideas, because I've did a lot of research into certain years, and as you guys know, I made a video about it. It's one of the first videos on this channel, I think the second video on this channel. I'm talking about a Jubilee year, and this is a very important year. It's written about in the Bible. And I've did a lot of research into these Shemitah years, which is like a 7-year cycle, and we often see massive crises happening in the 7th year. And a couple of examples is the housing market crisis in 2008. Another example is the dot-com bubble pop in 2001. Another example was the bear market in 2021. So the prices of stocks and the prices of certain things went down in those years. And it was all the same year in terms of that cycle, right? If you're not active in the financial markets and you don't understand that, check the second video I've posted on this channel, because I explain it very clearly there. But what we are seeing right now is the next Shemitah year is going to be a very special one, because if we look at the numerology of the years that we are going, if the year count, of course, is correct, the year count that is presented to us, then the next Shemitah year will be starting in 2028, going to 2029. And it will not be a regular Shemitah year, it will be a Jubilee year. And a Jubilee is actually 40 Shemitah cycles. So it's like 40 Shemitah cycles, which equals to roughly 2000 years. So the last Jubilee year was in the year 28 to 29. But as many information in this world is actually not correct, and a lot of information is coming to the surface about that. I'm not sure about the years, of if the year count that we are using, if that's the correct way. So let me put that a little bit aside. But aside from the year count, I think we personally all have this feeling within us, maybe this vibration or this sense, this sixth sense, that something big is going to happen and that the world is right in front of a massive shift. And I think this is, for me, also evidence that the event is going to be very big. Right? We don't have to try to rationalize everything with calculating the numbers and so forth and so forth. But yeah, the normal Shemitah year is known to be a year of reset, a year of economical crisis, and in the Bible it is described as a year where the land should rest. So you should not plant any crops, you should not harvest anything, the land should rest, right? The seventh year, also maybe the seventh day of the week. Why that the seventh day of the week, the day to rest, is in macro cycle a seventh year. Very interesting. So what's also standing in the Bible is that you should not worry about the 7th year, because in the 6th year you will get 3 times the harvest you normally get in a year, and that 3 times the harvest in the 6th year will give you so much abundance that you can survive the 7th year and that you can survive the 8th year as well. The 8th year is then 2029 to 2030. So what does that mean? It actually means that, based on what I believe and what I have found during my research, is that the wealth transfer probably is going to take place between now and 2027, until the end of 2027, maybe even early 2028. But most likely the real wealth transfer will happen in the year 2027. Why 2027? Because 2027 is the 6th year, the year where you should get 3 times the harvest as any regular year. And I think that event, 3 times the harvest, is actually what everyone is feeling and seeing with this wealth transfer. And we actually have seen this in the past, because the dot-com bubble was also a wealth transfer, right? You had old structures that had a lot of wealth, but suddenly the internet came, and the internet stocks got really high, and a lot of people, the new generation, suddenly got a lot of money. That was during the internet phase, right? So you also saw a shift in wealth from old structures going into internet, which brought up a lot of new millionaires and billionaires in this world from a different generation. So there you can already see a little bit of a wealth transfer as well. In 2008, you had it slightly, because the markets in the 6th year did rally, right? And then from 2028, in the housing market crisis, it went down. Same stuff happened in 2021. You saw 2021, everything going up, and then 2022, when the Shemitah year started, everything went down again. So yeah, this is what I think about the timeline, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about my plan, and then we are going to have a look at the mindset of all of this. So my plan right now is that I believe that this whole wealth transfer has something to do with crypto. I'm pretty sure of it, because the old structures are the regular financial system, and we can already see the regular financial systems getting these cracks, right? It's cracking left and right, and there's a lot of inflation going on, and people are losing trust in the existing institutions. And this all combined will reach a certain climax, and I think that climax will be reached in 2028 on that Shemitah year. And it's not a coincidence that a lot of agendas are going parallel. It's being presented to us that 2028 we are going to see this and this and this and that. If you look around you, this is something that is being spoken a lot of, right? Only this part, the part from the normal people, is not that much spoken of, because I think that the institutions in power, they know exactly what's going on, because they have a very good understanding of how the universe works, a way better understanding than a regular human being, so to say. So they know that. That's why they, of course, plan for these events, because they know it's going to happen. So once it happens, they can steer it in the direction they want to steer it. Does it make sense? And they have, in a sense, they have the right to do that. Why? Because we all have a free will on this planet, and that's really important, that I want to talk about in the mindset later. But this is in my plan. To come back to my plan, is that I really want to get rid of the black and white thinking. So thinking all in or all out in any markets is not something that I want to do anymore. But I'm going to work towards 2027, and I'm going to expect that 2027 is going to be the year of the wealth transfer. So I want to be positioned for that. So a lot of people talking about that right now we are seeing a bear market in crypto, that Bitcoin has stopped. Is definitely possible. I took some profits in the crypto market as well. I shared that as well in the community. So I have a little bit of cash on the side, so to say, but I think the majority I will leave in crypto, because even though 2026 might be a bear market and prices come down, I will add up to my positions. Still, I want to be positioned for that 2027, and if my timing is incorrect, and it does happen earlier, and we are seeing already some very interesting charts across the crypto space that have been seeing some breakouts from 7-year long resistance, then I can already see there's a change in market structure happening as well. So there is a lot of changes going on, and it's going to be very difficult to time exactly what is going to happen. So I think it's definitely important to position yourself in such a way that it doesn't matter what, when happens, you can catch some of the wind. But of course, you also got to make sure in your personal situation that you are able to live right until 2027 and beyond. So I think everyone got to make that decision for themselves. But like I said, my plan is to be mostly positioned, little bit not positioned, which I can use for to get bigger positions and so forth and so forth. So yeah, that is a little bit my plan. Then I want to talk a little bit about the mindset as well, because the mindset, I've been going through a lot of different mindset and identities in the past months, past years, and it gave me some insights, and I want to share those insights. But maybe when I look at this video in 1 year or 6 months, I will look back at it and think like, yeah, no, I changed my perspective, I changed my opinion, because this is something that I recognize a lot with myself. Is every time I have a strong opinion or I have an insight, I dive into it, and and a couple of months later, suddenly I look back at it and I think like, yeah, I don't really know if that really was the right way. So that's why I always say, guys, this is especially in the beginning of this video as well, that's why it's so important that you always make decisions from yourself, because you are on this planet, you are here, you are a spiritual human being, you have a authority inside of you, you are a representation of everything. So your voice and your choice really matters, and it matters most when you make it from your own heart. So that's why I always say, don't follow other people. You can learn from other people, definitely, but make the decisions for yourself. And the term that we then my mind is going like, okay, I want to say this and this and that, but there are a couple of things in this world. Let's say there are 3 things in this world. We have people, and this is just a very basic idea, right? We have people, we have structures, and we have free will. I'm just going to make a very simple analogy, or trying to make a simple explanation for this. Of course, we have way more. We have animals, we have water, we have channels, we have boats, we have the sun, and we have a lot of more. But let's just make it very simple. We have people, structures, and free will. These are 3 very important forces. People, and this is very important to realize, and I realized this recently, there are no bad people. Like sometimes we can get stuck online and we can really point to other people like, yeah, but they do this and they do that. And I understand the feeling, because I also do that. I also like to point fingers, but I don't think that this helps with anything. Because pointing fingers is separating us, and we actually need to unite. So we should not point any fingers, and we should just accept that there are no bad people on this planet. Even though bad things are happening on this planet, there are no bad people. Then we go to the next one, and that is the structures. The structures in this world, they, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, a lot of structures are bad and they are not beneficial for humanity. And this is something where we have to look at. And of course, it's very cliche, but you hear this phrase often, like we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against the authorities and structures and powers in this world. And I think that's really the case, because most people who do bad things, they are also victim of the structures that are kind of like controlling them, right? So we should not point fingers, but we should have a very deep look at the structures of this planet. Like, which structures are there, which structures are beneficial and which structures are not beneficial. And I think most structures at this moment are not beneficial. They are not on the fundamental level. They have not been built to serve humanity with the intention of love. They have been built either to make profit, to weaken humanity in a certain way. Look at, for example, the food industry, look at Big Pharma. The food industry is weakening the people. Big Pharma is then the solution for the people who get diseases and stuff like that. So these are, for example, two structures that are, I believe, not always beneficial for humanity. So we have to look at these structures instead of at the human being. We should not look at human beings and point fingers, because the longer I think about it, it will not bring us anywhere, right? We are all representations of the whole in this world, right? Of everything in this world. We're all representations and we all carry a certain authority in this world. That's also very important. And we should work together, we should inspire one another, and we should look at the structures instead of at humans. So focus on the structures. How is a certain structure set, and how can we maybe make an alternative structure that is more beneficial for humanity? I'm going to give an example about this as well later in this video. And something that I also think in this world is that everyone is equal. Everyone is equal. It doesn't matter how much money someone has, which position someone has. In essence, if you go really back to the basic, we are all equal. That's super important. So, for example, we have seen a lot of videos online, and I've also identified myself with this. For example, with the chosen ones. Like, a lot of videos go out like a chosen one, but and this is where I also want to say where my mindset a little bit changed, because I identified as that as well, because I felt like, oh yeah, I'm also a chosen one. But then I think the longer I think about it, I think like this is a trap. This is a psychological trap. Why? Because when you are a chosen one, what does that make another person? Right? You are invalidating therefore another person, while the other person is also then should also be a chosen one, because we are all equal. So I stopped believing that I don't want to think in the sense of separation. So I don't want to think in the sense of like, yeah, you have chosen ones, that you have good and bad. I think we should put the duality aside. We are all equal, and we have to look at the structures and see where we can change the structures and build structures from a loving way, from an authentic and loving way, with a fundamental base of to be beneficial for humanity instead of to really generate profits. Of course, we also live in a world where you need cash flow when you have a business, right? I do not really know how a world is going to look in the future where money maybe doesn't exist and you don't need cash flow for a business, and the whole structure gets completely different, right? So we might go back to communities, and I don't really know. I think every single one of you has to think about that, and I'm really curious to discuss these things with you, and I think it's right now also the time to talk about this and to discuss these things. But I think mindset is really important. We are all special, and there's nobody excluded. And there's no need to point any fingers to others, although I do not ignore or be ignorant to the fact that a lot of bad things are happening on this planet, 100%. So I 100% agree with that. I just don't think the solution is to point fingers to individuals. Now let's go to an example for a structure that could be changed and that could be beneficial for human being. And this is something where I thought that if you have, for example, the music industry, And this is, by the way, also scientifically proven. So you have the music industry. If you look at the structure of the music, maybe even broader the entertainment industry, but in this case I want to talk about the music industry. The music industry is definitely a structure or a tool that is being used to influence humanity, and not always in a good way. If you listen to certain texts of songs and you really listen to these texts, a lot of them texters are negative, right? Those negative texters are influencing our subconsciousness. So even though you're not aware of it, if you go to the club, and I hear it often when I go to the gym. When I go to the gym and I'm sporting and I'm hearing on the background, I'm aware of this, I'm hearing songs like I'm losing my mind, or something like I can't take it anymore. Like these negative phrases, like what do you mean I'm losing my mind? That shouldn't be on a loop being played in your environment, because even though you are rationally enjoying that music, your subconsciousness is taking that, like, as in a different way. That's what I believe. Also, the certain frequencies that music is exported in and is being distributed, for example on Spotify, is in 440 hertz. They changed that in after the Second World War, and they made a world standard to have 440 hertz. That is the frequency that music is being, that the instrument of the music is being tuned to 440 hertz. But there are researchers shown, they did some brain scans with some people, with some studies. You can find these online. That they let some people listen to 440 hertz music, and they let people listen to 432 hertz music. And then you can see that the ones with 432 hertz music, their brain state, their consciousness, their feeling state, so to say, was after maybe 10-20 minutes was more relaxed, feeling more good, lower cortisol levels, lower stress levels than the ones with 440 hertz. So then you can already see, okay, so the regular music, 440 hertz, is more stressing on humanity when listening to that the whole day. And then next to that you have the negative text that are being present in these songs as well. So you have like the negative text and the frequency of the music that is not super beneficial. If we would change that and we change our whole perception to it, and we are going to build, for example, you're going to build a music platform that is exporting the music in a different frequency, 432 hertz. You are tuning your instruments on 432 hertz. You are going to write song lyrics that are really empowering for humanity, that put them in their authenticity, that put them in their power. That is a big change, right? Because if you then look at the whole humanity, and when we have a different structure in the music, then you can already see that the feeling state of a big group of people will slightly be different. It might be 0.1%, it might be 1%, but we need this. We need every percent we need. So we need in the food industry, instead of fast food restaurants and all the seed oils that are in those that are being used in those restaurants, we should get rid of it, right? And we should get healthy restaurants, food that is empowering us. So that is also, again, a structure that could be changed, right? And that brings me to the next point, because I said in this video we have people, structures and free will. Now comes free will into place, and free will is so important because we all have free will. We can all choose what we are doing, and those choices are being respected because that is a universal law. And that's also the reason why with a lot of the structures that are right now in place on the planet, they need your consent. So you are not being forced to do anything, right? It sometimes feel that you're forced to do something, but actually you're not really being forced. You still have the end choice is in your hands, because you carry that authority inside of you. You are an equal representation of the whole universe as anyone else. So you also have the right to choose for yourself. You have a lot of rights in this universe, spiritual rights, authority rights, that every one of us should realize. So if you don't want to do something, then you don't have to do it. And the environment has to respect that. They have to respect that you don't want to do something because it is taking away your integrity. It's taking away your sovereignty, right? So yeah, that's also what I believe. I think this time is a time where we have free will and where the free will also has to be respected. And with that free will, guys, we can really start to make different decisions. So instead of going to fast food restaurants, you can say like, okay, I'm not going to support that anymore. I'm not going to bring my energy, money into these places. I'm going to do it in something else. I maybe go to a farm. I buy my food at a farm. I at least going to eat healthy. That's already a change. I'm going to change my the way that I listen to music. For me personally, when I hear a song and I can hear some things in the lyrics that I do not like, that I think do not fit in my moral framework, I directly delete that song from the playlist. Like, okay, it's maybe a nice song, it makes me feel good in the first minute, but listening to this song on the longer term time frame is not good, it's not beneficial for me. It's taking me actually out of my power instead of setting me inside my own power. So I think these are things we really have to think about. We really have to think about this. And yeah, I see the future actually very bright, because I think many of us are in this journey right now. Many of us are feeling the same thing. We all feel like, it's not working the way we have done it for the past hundreds and hundreds of years, right? We are suddenly seeing a little bit like, this doesn't feel right and this doesn't feel right. And it's always the structures. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the structures, not the people. So the people are also victim of the structures. So there is really no point in pointing to people. That's what I think right now. But maybe I'm going to look different at that in 6 months, because I also see my perspective and opinion is changing all the time. It is a world right now where things also happening in a very high speed, right? New technology is coming out, and the fundament is already not strong, because a lot of fundament is based on license, it's based on manipulation. A lot of structures, like I said, they are based on manipulation, trying to get you to do something, and what you are doing then is then taking you out of your power. So it's all trying to distract you from what you actually have inside, and that is that authority in this universe. You have that authority, and you can say yes and no to the things that you want and do not want. So I think, yeah, now the time really comes where we have to claim this timeline back. We have to claim back the world that we want to live in, not the world that we are living in right now. Right? Because we all want change. That's what I personally believe. And I think you too, right? We all want change. So we right now have to claim our right to live in the world that we want to live in. And we have to do that with our free will. Again, my personal belief, my personal perspective. So think about the things that you might be doing in your life, and thinking like, hey, is this something that I really want? Is this a choice from my heart, or is this a choice that I make on something else? Is that a choice that is maybe being programmed in my system? Is that a choice of empowerment, or is it a choice where I give my power away? All of these things. This is really the time to think about it, and then to also start thinking, and this might be the fun thing, guys, this might be the really fun thing, to start thinking like, how should the world look if I could do something? What could I create? Because that is very important in this world, creation power. I think this is also one of the things that makes a person really happy. If you create something, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's music, if it's a poem, if it's a project, creation is something beautiful, and we all have these creative powers, right? So I think creating something will make you very happy. So if you are not feeling that happy in life, start creating things, even if it's very small. You will start to notice that you are going to feel very happy, because you are using a certain energy in you, a creation energy, and I think it's just very good thing, and especially when you create from your heart space. And this is very difficult because I think we, at least I, definitely lost a lot of connection with my heart during my whole life. But I think it's time to reconnect. It's time to reconnect and create from that heart space. So then, for example, looking at a structure like, okay, the music industry is not that beneficial for people. How can we make it beneficial? How can we change or put in a new structure that is actually beneficial? So fast food is not healthy for people. Okay, how can we create a new structure that is healthy for people, that will empower people? This is going to be so important, guys. This is going to be so important, and maybe we are going to eventually live in a world where money doesn't even exist, right? We are going to such a different system where money doesn't exist. Institutions that control you don't really exist, but we're going to a world where everyone is equal, where everyone lives from a heart space, where suddenly the balance will return. In a chaotic way, the balance will return. I think that is definitely possible if we connect again to our heart, because I think the natural state of a human being, the natural state, and we are right now disconnected from a natural state, but once we can connect again to our natural state, I think everything will fall into place. A lot of things we don't need in this world, because in our natural state we are happy, we are healthy, and we are living in abundance. We are living in love. You have empathy for other people. You want to help others. You want to connect with others. You want to make things that empower others instead of taking from others, right? So I think this is a process, but this all has to do again with the wealth transfer, because we have a unique opportunity right here. That we have a moment where the structures that are in place are actually losing their essence, losing their authority, because people can see through it. So that is going down a little bit, and then you have this new generation of people with these new ideas, and they suddenly get, because of the long-term suppression, they suddenly get this money, this energy. And they can use that energy to then, with their free will, of course, create new structures, which is in alignment with your heart. And that everyone has to make the decision for themselves. But at least think about it. Think about it, it's actually super fun. When you write down, okay, we are not going to focus directly on what is bad in this world, what I do not like in this world. Of course, we have to look at that as well. We shouldn't be ignorant. I'm not saying that. But let's shift the focus and then look at okay, what can I do to make this world really a better place? Where's my knowledge? Where's my skills? Where can I maybe develop myself a little bit better? Maybe where can I put some investments? Where can I have someone in my environment that has their heart really on the right place? I love this person. He wants to do so nice a project, but he misses funding. Okay, maybe you can help that person out by providing some funding to that person. Right? This is how we can all help each other, and I think this is going to be super important. Because in the end of the day, guys, it's not a world where we are all individuals, although it does feel like it right now. But this is also something that I've experienced in the past year of being a little bit in solitude, is that we need each other. We need to connect with each other. This is really important. And if you have no connection with yourself, with your own heart center, if you have no connection with other human beings, doesn't really matter if you have 10% of the world's wealth, right? Money will not bring you that happiness. It will not bring you that fulfillment, because it is also just a structure. It's also just a structure, and of course it's nice to live abundantly, and everyone should have the right to live abundantly, and I think that is also possible in this world. But abundantly also means abundant in connection, abundant in relationships, right? And maybe if you look back on your life, and you had times where you had maybe less money, but you had deeper friendships and some adventures going on with your friends that felt really good, and you were really happy. And then you have times where you maybe felt a little bit more lonely, but you have more money, but you are actually less happy. That is already proof that money itself doesn't really bring happiness, but it is a tool that we can use in this world, and especially in the coming years, I think we can use this tool to our benefit. But we should really start to think, start to shift our focus into looking different at the world and looking at the world like, okay, what can we do to make the world a better place? And looking at the structures, not looking at the people, because there are no bad people. Okay guys, that was this video of today, and I hope it makes sense. And this is just a message I already think a long time to talk about, but it just, yeah. So here it is. Okay guys, thank you all for watching, and yeah, looking forward to think together with you about what we can do, you know, and if somebody has some initiatives, and I would love to hear that. So yeah guys, looking very much forward to the ideas you have. Wishing you all a beautiful day, and I see you all in the next video. Bye bye.